what this other idea is. There's just some examples here. Street lighting. We just heard that again and again. That a lot of streets are just dark, or the lighting that's on the street is really more for the cars and not for people. So that's a comment. We think that's right. That's a great idea. Or fixing sidewalks. That's just in general. That's true for the neighborhood. That's not just true for North Highland. That's really true for the whole neighborhood. We want to capture that. Burying utilities underground. That's just a good idea. That's something that in the future, as new development happens, as utility work gets done in the neighborhood, that's something that should be integrated into the neighborhood. So we have this list of just all these other ideas that we just want to make sure you know that we have those, and we want to continue to move those forward in the master plan process. So make sure to look at that, and if there's anything else, there's an idea you have that hasn't shown up yet, make sure you put it on that comment sheet. Okay, so where are we going from here? So tonight is this chance for us to reflect these recommendations and these ideas that we've been working on and refining, and for you to give us feedback on that. From here, we will be at the February 10th VHCA meeting to say, okay, these were our ideas, and here's what we heard at the meeting, and because of what we heard at this meeting, here's how we're refining and revising and tweaking these things. Now, the balance that we're always trying to achieve as planners, as a community, as leaders in the community, is we're trying to get to a point where we can hear and understand what the consensus of the community is. So there's always going to be outliers, there's always going to be folks that don't agree with everything, but we're trying to find consensus. And if there's things that is not a clear consensus, those are the things that we don't try to push on. But we're trying to find that. So tonight, I want you to know that, because we're always going to end up at some point in a consensus, right? Sometimes we'll be in it, and sometimes we won't be in it. And sometimes there's just no clear consensus. So I just want you to know that's just our job, is to try to find the things that we think are sound, that are feasible, that the city will go along with, that are implementable, and that also are rooted in what the consensus of the community is. And tonight is another chance for us to try to document that and identify that. So February 10th, we'll present that and say, here's where we think the consensus is. And then we'll get feedback on that. We'll have that up on the website. This presentation will be on the website. All of these recommendations will be up on the website after tonight. And we'll get feedback through the website. We'll get feedback tonight. We'll get feedback at the February 10th meeting. And then from there, we come back on March 10th and say, okay, now here's the final proposal. Here's the final master plan recommendations. Okay, man, that's a lot of talking. So with that said,
before we break out, sorry to interrupt, before we have people break out to the tables, I wanted to introduce our council member who is hiding there. He's coming up here. This is, many of you know, this is our councilman Alex Wan for our district, District 6. And he has been a huge supporter of Virginia-Highland in our community. And in fact, he provided a grant to help fund the master plan process. As you can imagine, this hasn't been free. The Virginia-Highland Civic Association has expended a significant amount of money to develop this master plan. And we very much appreciate Councilman Wan for providing a grant and coming here and being a part of our master plan process. So thank you, Councilman Wan. Do you want to say anything to your constituents?
First of all, I just want to commend VHCA for taking this on. It is a massive undertaking, but I've always supported any community that wants to undertake a master planning process for a number of reasons. It gives the city clarity on what a community sees for itself, and quite frankly, all things being equal, when funding sources become available, all things being equal, a community with a master plan is more likely to step to the head of the line because we know it will be supported by the community who is supported. In really good hands with Aaron. I mean, he's kind of the go-to guy for District 6. He did Candler Parks last year. He's working with y'all. He's also working with Brooklyn Hills at this point. His work product is always very thorough and comprehensive. But it also reflects what he said, that it recognizes consensus, but also doesn't really push anything that the The most important thing y'all can do tonight is the feedback, because a master plan is only as good as the input that the facilitators get from the community. So be honest, be thorough, be expressive, be opinionated, because that's what will shape it. And I look forward on council's end to receiving the work product at the end of your process and continue to support it anyway. So congratulations, and I look forward to seeing it.
And a final comment before you break out. You'll see that there are sheets where you can write comments. I encourage you to certainly write legibly, but also be mindful of how big you write. We want to make sure that everyone has a chance to get their comments on that piece of paper. And I guarantee you that the weight of your comment is not based on the size of your letters. I've already seen some comments that take up a quarter of the page. So let's be mindful of giving everyone an opportunity and a space to write their comments. So Aaron, I guess with that, we're ready to break out. There will be members of Aaron's team who have helped on this master plan